Okay. Welcome back to Lenz Comic Corner, Classic Class Non-Classics. This is episode number 1299 and Doubleshot number 1193. I have one DC trade, one Marvel trade. First up is Batman Volume 1, Their Dark Designs. Now, these issues are written by James Tynion IV. Yeah, this is the start of his run, which is still going, by the way. Yes, even after Future Slate, he's still the writer of this book. I'm not kidding about that. He seriously is. With Gillian March, mostly on the writing, with also artwork by a boatload of artists. Like, oh my gosh, there's Tony S. Daniel, who initially was announced as the main artist for this book, but then the DC changed their mind for some reason. We have Carl Bonita, Jorge Jimenez, Rafael Albuquerque, Javier Perez, Danny Miki, who was also the inker at one point. I think he was inker for Scott Snyder's run. Annie Tong, Victor Ibiza, Riley Rosimo, John Paul Leon, and Sumit Kumar. Now, James supervises all the Batman issues here. This book contains mainly issues 86 to 94 of Batman Volume 3 and Batman Secret Files number 3. Those stories, James, I think he writes a couple of stories, but mostly the other writers are Velta Aliyah, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Marco Tamaki, and Dan Winters. Now, the thing about this particular story is that, well, we have Catwoman here. Yeah, she's in the series. Well, she's been back in the series for quite a while. Now, the interesting thing about this storyline, it's mostly a lot of setup for Joker War. And for an opening story arc by a brand new writer on the book as a first arc that he did, he or she has ever done for Batman, this is by far the longest one at like 8 parts. Yes, 8 parts. Now you're probably asking, how long was Tom King's first arc? 5 issues. Yeah, it was 5 issues. Scott Snyder's was 6. I think the artist, one did before him was, Tony S. Daniel. I think his run was about 6, 7 issues, I think it was. But I think Tynion has probably had the longest first arc of a new writer in a long time. Probably at this point, probably for the first time in almost 10 years. Now, this story basically has debut of 3 brand new characters. One is the Designer. Yes, the Designer. Basically a guy with a big D on his head. Yep, he is not the only one who makes his debut in the storyline. Oh no, he is not the only one. Let me show you what the guy looks like, though. He's not the only one. But we also have guest star appearances by, get this, Cheshire, Merlin. Yes, Merlin, the Green Arrow villain. I think this is supposed to be Sportsmaster? No, this is Gunfire. Yeah, he's an old 90s character. No, not the only one. Yeah, Lucius Fox is taking over for Alfred because he got killed off just prior to City of Bane. We also have frickin' Deathstroke here. Yes, Deathstroke is in the storyline. I think... No, he does play a role in Joker War I can think of. I don't remember if he does, but it's been a little bit since Joker War. And if you don't read the current Catwoman book, you're like, wait, why does Catwoman's outfit look different? Well, at the start of the current book, they changed her outfit for the first time in, how long had it been since they changed the attire? I think it had been, 16 years since they last changed the attire. Yeah, the Emma Peel look that she had from the Ed Brubaker run for Catwoman Volume 3, she kept that costume for a long time until they changed it recently. And it's not a bad-looking costume. I still have the opinion about it. And one thing I always appreciate about Lucius Fox, he is very good at being the eyes and ears for Batman. He probably is more tech-savvy than Alfred Pennyworth. Because Alfred Pennyworth is known for being a butler, not being, eyes and ears. Yep, we also have guest star appearances by, of all people, the Riddler. Yep. And he is completely naked. And he's deformed for some reason. Don't know why, but that's basically what he is for some reason. Yep. Yeah, the Penguin's also here. Now, let's see if we can find him here. The Designer. Yep, The frickin' designer. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, and we also have it where... Oh, hi, Commissioner Bellick. Now, you're probably asking, what the heck did Harvey Bullock become commissioner? Well, that's due to what happened because that's kind of something Scott Snyder did. Yeah, he basically had it where the Batman Who Laughs infected Jim Gordon, so he's not mentally competent to be the commissioner anymore. Nope. It's now Bullock. And he is still the commissioner. This day. Also, apparently, the way that Gillian March draws Cheshire, we have this one point where where part of her skirt basically goes up, and we kind of have almost like a panty shot. Yep. I thought that was something. Yep. I mean, as a male reader, I'm like, yeah, I like this. Also, she gets taken in custody by, of all people, Batman. Yep. Now, let's see if I can find him here. The designer. Oh, yeah. We also have this where Batman's got a brand new gadget. Where it's like, okay, take out part of your... Lucius like, hey, Bruce, take out this device out of your utility belt. Okay. Put it on that car. Okay. And we have himself a brand new Batmobile. I gotta admit, this is actually a pretty cool looking Batmobile. Like, oh look, it starts out small and then goes out really big. The way the size looks so small, it kind of reminds me of basically the way it was from the Batman, like size wise, and it goes long as like the Tim Burton, the Batman series. I thought that was so hilarious. Now the designer. Let's see if I can find him here. Where are you, designer? I know I'm getting to him. Let's see. Oh yeah, we also have Harley Quinn's in this storyline. Yep, she's actually a supporting character in this book for even the next story arc. Now for the designer. Where are you, designer? Here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, the designer. Yes, a new character created by James Tynion. He is the first new character created for the storyline. He's kind of in the way of the mastermind behind the storyline, but then at the end of the storyline, he's killed by the Joker. Yep, killed by the Joker. Yeah, and Joker, for some reason, has been aged up. Also, we have the very first appearance of... Now you're probably thinking, who is that pretty woman with the blue lip? I mean, this looks like a pretty woman with like blue lips, blue hair. Well, she makes her full debut in the very next issue. We also have a brief flashback of Catwoman in the purple suit, the Jim Ballard costume, along with seeing the Joker, Penguin, and the Riddler. Penguin looks like appearance-wise, looks like they took inspiration for this scene from the Batman animated series. And yes, the designer simply put a guy who basically brokers deals. Excuse me, yeah. We also have, looks like the Cavalier possibly, but I'm not really sure. He's a minor Batman villain, in case you don't know who he is. Look him up. He's quite an interesting villain. He basically commits crimes with a sword. Yeah, we have this really cool scene in part 5 of the story. Actually, part 6, where Batman battles Deathstroke on top of his Batjet. And then we have the debut of this woman. Let's see if I can find her here. Yeah, when Harley Quinn meets her, like, wait, who are you? Let's see here. I'm getting close to her. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we have another character. This is this guy here with the white mask and the red suit. Yes, this is known as the Underbroker. Yes, that is this new character. I believe he's sort of a sub-boss for the Joker. And the breakout character of James Tynion's run so far, a woman who later got her own one-shot. Punchline! Yep, this smoking hot babe right here. Yes, this is Punchline. The new character Tynion debuted in this very story arc. Though they kind of in a way spoiled her debut in Year of the Villain Hell Arisen. But Tynion himself did confirm that this is her first appearance, not that book. Chronologically, this is the first book. Okay, yeah, Tynion did explain this later on. And Harley Quinn's like, really, you a fan? He's like, nope, not a fan. Oh, she's got an attitude. Like, okay, why are you dressed like that? She's Joker's new girlfriend, Harley. I'm his partner. Hoo boy. And she's like, "Oh, you're funny. That doesn't sound funny." She's like, and Punchline is like, "You know, it was gonna be funny. What I do to your skin?" "Nah, that's not how funny works. You need voice with an attitude." "Really? I think I need a few sharp knives." Harley's like, "Honey, a few years from now, you have a few couple dozen good moments. Do some good crawling cries in the shower. I'll buy you a few frozen margaritas. We're going to call a girl. But right now, I'm gonna beat the crap out with my big effing hammer." And she's like, "Ooh, I'm shaking my boots." Yep. Yeah, I think it's so funny that Harley Quinn's fighting Joker's new girlfriend, Punchline. And you have Catwoman fighting the Underbroker. And we also have Riddler back in the Frank Gorshin tights. Yep. Also, the Desire knows who Batman is. Yep. And then we have this wonderful page where he apparently has hired 5 assassins: Deathstroke, Deadshot, KG Beast, Marlin, the Green Arrow villain, and Lady Shiva. I'm like, is this after or after, well, the Outsiders book? Probably before. I'm not really sure of when. Yeah. So, we had really doing his own thing. Basically, kind of like set up of deals that apparently he's behind, like a lot of the small stuff here and there. Basically, and we have continued fighting between Harley Quinn and Punchline. Yep. Yep. And then, of course, the finale for this is that he does defeat the designer, though the designer is revealed by Catwoman to be the Joker all along. Yeah, apparently she's being treated at some hospital, and he goes to get her to Liz Hopkins, but she gets rescued by, of all people, the Penguin, though she's in a cave with Scarecrow, Mad Hatter, Professor Pig, Firebug, yeah, he's a character from Nightwing. We also have Killer Croc, Firefly, who I think this is supposed to be the one that also spared Nightwing as well, and Tiger Shark. Yep. So yeah. Basically, and now we're getting toward basically the events of Joker War. Now, the special is simply just a series of stories. First, we have first story is Batman vs. Cheshire, in a completely different novel that she wears in the main book. Yeah, I have no idea why in the world that Anna Tongue did not know what her outfit looked like. Yep. Second story is basically called Merlin and Hunters. Yeah, it's Batman and Green Arrow. Yes, Green Arrow take on frickin' Merlin. Yes, because he's a Green Arrow villain, so why the heck not? And then the next story, which has got a completely different artist. This is a very weird art style. This is basically Marco Tamaki, who does the writing. This is Mr. Teeth, Muted. This is drawn by Riley Rismo. Yep. Then we have a really good one with basically gunfire. I actually had to ask Chuck Dixon who this guy was because I didn't really know who this guy was. Because I asked him because he appeared in the pages of Bang Conquest. So he said, yeah, this is gunfire. Like, I created back in the 90s. So like, okay. Yes, this is done by Dan Winters. I'm like, I would think that Chuck Dixon was, nope, it's their guy, John Winters. And then Fool's Gold, this is James Singer story. This is basically Batman versus Deathstroke. Yep. A very good one that actually has some very good setup for Joker War. Where Joker basically is here with Punchline. In the very attire he shot, well, Barbara Gordon in. Yep. They have this special one-shot pages basically of, well, Punchline becoming who she is, meeting various people. Yeah, great start for James Day. It's absolutely fantastic. Love this cover from Batman 92, which has, well, Punchline on it. It is really, really good. I love this cover. This is done by Stanley Obligin, I think he pronounced it. Yes. Absolute great set of covers and great new villains that start out this great book. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now I give Batman Volume 1 Dark Designs a 10 out of 10. It's an excellent story and great setup for an awesome storyline, Joker War. Next up is a story that came out, I kid you not, 13 years ago. Wolverine Old Man Logan. Written by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven. Yeah, this is the original story that sparked everything, and it would serve as loose inspiration for the film Logan. This book collects issues 66 to 72 of Wolverine Volume 3. Now, we'll get to exactly what happened with this book right after the storyline wrapped up. Yep, the whole point of the storyline is this. Basically, we have Wolverine who's behind in his rent. You also get brief flashbacks of exactly what happened with the XMen in this reality. Yes, apparently he was supposed like, oh no, a bunch of villains, a bunch of Marvel supervillains invaded the XMen Institute. And he killed them all, with the exception of one. It looked like with Bullseye. Nope, it was actually Jubilee, because it was all just a thing caused by Mysterio. Yep, and Wolverine hates the fact he did this. Yeah, and how did this world become the way it is? Apparently, all the supervillains united to kill the superheroes. Well, most of them anyways. There's like a few left. Hawkeye is still alive, along with Daredevil, who's now become Stick. And if you're a little curious to exactly what happened with some of these villains, like why do they show up here like remember Thunderbolts? Well, there's a good explanation for that. Read Old Man Hawkeye, which is a prequel to this. It takes place 1 year part of events in the series. So Wolverine is on his farm. He's basically hanging out with his family. And then, of course, they're basically, well, then they're hounded by the Hulk gang. Who are the Hulk gang? They are the children of the Hulk. Who is their mother? They don't reveal that into the giant-sized Logan, Old Man Logan one-shot, which is... who it is absolutely disgusting. But this is what Mark Millar came up with. So, okay, so he's given 1 month basically to deal with, well, find a way to pay off the rent. That was double next month. So Hawkeye's like, want to help me do this package in Babylon? It's like, okay, fine. And we're driving in the spider buggy. Yes, this crazy thing. Yep. And he's driving while Logan is navigating. Oh yeah, and by the way, the supervillains conquered the United States. So this is basically who controls everything. The West Coast is controlled by the Hulk, obviously. Basically, the states of Washington, Oregon, California, from Idaho down Idaho. I think it's like Idaho, Utah, Nevada. Basically, kind of like the western portion of the states, from Idaho all the way down to Arizona. That portion, which is not New Mexico, like that portion, that's controlled by the Kingpin. Then you have the Forbidden Lands. Don't know who controls these places. We have Doom's Lair, which is basically kind of like Minnesota, Wisconsin. Basically, what you think of like Louisiana Purchase, basically a small portion of it. We have a small area controlled by nobody. As I mentioned, we have the President's Quarter, which who the president is, this reality is like, you're like, really, Mark Millar? Really? Well, I'll get to it. And so, basically, you kind of think of this as kind of like a futuristic, well, with a bit of technology of Mad Max. It's basically how you describe this world. Yeah, but they basically go various places. They run into Ghost Riders, which are basically people who are not actually Ghost Riders, just people who were inspired by them with some powers. And we see Wolverine and Flash look like he's taking on Wild Child, Sinister, and Omega, along with I think it's Cybermaster, I think it is. So they go to like various places. They go to a place called Hammer Falls, which simply has Thor's hammer. Yes, Thor's hammer. And nobody wants to pick it up for some reason. Ultron 8, who is the new husband of Hawkeye's third ex-wife. His wife, believe it or not, in this reality, is the youngest daughter of Spider-Man. No joke. So basically Hawkeye married a daughter of one of his closest friends. Wow. Like, okay. And here's Ashley Barton. Yes. She's basically Spider-Girl, but they decided to give her a curse name in here. Oh no, yes. She's also referred to as Spider, B-I-T-C-H. If you know what that spells, I'm not going to say what it is, but that's what they call her in this reality. For reasons. I have no idea why in the world this is. So after supposedly freeing her, yeah, it turns out she actually killed the king, but it was actually one of her stepfathers. So, yeah, apparently he has people dressed up as Daredevil. This guy's black guy thinks is the Kingpin. With, looks like Daredevil and... don't know who this guy is in the Mohawk. I don't know who he is. Ashley, of course, they killed by dinosaurs. Yeah, eventually this guy is killed by, well, Ashley. She takes over as the Kingpin. Yep. You might be thinking, Will Smith. Oh, he's not here. I think he's dead. And then we see various things. We see the body of Loki. Yes, freaking Loki. You get killed by a skyscraper. Paste Pot Creek, which probably Paste Pot Pete. We see looks like the Venom symbiote. And then we see Mount Rushmore. Where it's got a skull in the third place. Yeah, I'll explain that soon, what the heck that is. Then Wolverine explains what happened to Flashback. Yeah, it's over interesting. Like, oh look at these villains who supposedly the X-Men do. We see Ulysses Claw, Strife, yes, Strife, Doctor Octopus, Hyde, Shocker, and basically it's like you see these villains like, nope, it's not actually them. It's just Mysterio. Basically, well, he doesn't believe it until basically one of them says, Loki's supposed to be our friend. Yeah, and Logan pretty much killed the X-Men. Yeah. It's haunted for years. Then we see the Venom presenting a dinosaur. Yes, a freaking dinosaur. Oh yeah, and then they run into Emma Frost, who is still really young. Yeah, and also in the Forbidden Quarter, the reason why she had to get mutants on the from being killed by the other villains, she married Doctor Doom. Yep, she married Doctor Doom. Just cause. Yeah, I think it's due to some psychic manipulation that keeps herself young. I'm not sure what it is. Then we see a dead giant man. Yes. Moving on. Yeah, they don't really explain why the heck that is. Yeah, and I'm going to get to who exactly is the president of this one. It is the president of the United States in this post-apocalyptic future is none other than the Red Skull. Yep, the Red Skull is the one running the country. Yeah, apparently he didn't kill Steve Rogers. Nope, according to who this picture with the costume, he killed Bucky Barnes, who was in fact the Captain America at the time. So he kills him, and he basically, apparently he also killed the Silver Surfer, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Thor, Doctor Strange, Iron Man. He apparently killed, looks like Cyclops, the Vision, Quasar, the Thing, due to the various trophies. Also, he apparently walks around wearing Captain America's costume. Yeah, so he's wearing the costume of a dead man. Because he feels like it. Yeah, and then of course, well, Wolverine's right for him, so he beats the crap out of him, fights him, takes Cap's shield, and then he decapitates him right in the middle of his controlled White House. Then he takes Iron Man's armor, flies back home with the money basically he got, and apparently the Hulk family got bored and killed his family. And then he's like, Logan? Name's not Logan, bub. Snick. It's Wolverine. Yep, and his claws have popped out. Yep, and the final chapter, which is from the giant-sized one-shot, so basically, he goes out and kills the entire Hulk family, with the exception of the young baby. Kills them all one by one. And then he comes across Hulk himself. Yep. Oh yeah, they've heard him as a redneck. And this guy is supposed to be Bruce Banner. Okay. What's up with the suspenders? Oh yeah, and they mention basically who the mother of the kids is. He says, but who else was going to mate with besides my first cousin? I'm sure a lot of people, when they read this one shot back in 2009, were like, really, Mark Millar? Really? So, the mother of the Hulk's children is She-Hulk. Like, that is disgusting. Why the heck would you have the Hulk have sex with his own cousin? Yes, I know in Japan this is probably okay. But here in the United States, no, we don't do that at all. But apparently, She-Hulk was the only woman he could possibly sleep with, despite the fact he already had a wife, Betty Ross. Yeah, he had multiple kids with her. Like, okay. Yeah, as for where the heck she is in reality, it suggests she's dead. Yeah. And then, of course, well, then Hulk and Wolverine stabs Bruce Banner. He transforms into a gigantic Hulk who apparently has got a pot belly. And then he eats him. Yes, Hulk eats Wolverine. And you think everything's over, but nope. He's like, oh, I'm getting sick. And then Wolverine just claws himself right out of the Hulk's back. I'm not going to show the image because it's absolutely disgusting. I'm surprised it's not part of the Max imprint. So Wolverine's like, okay, I'm going to let you live. I'm taking the baby. Yep, so he takes the baby with him and, well, rides up in the sunset. This is Bruce Banner Jr. Yep. So, there was that particular thing. Now, if you're curious though exactly like, okay, do I think the storyline is good? Yes, it's mostly good up until the finale of this thing, which oddly enough came out like 1 year after the storyline already concluded the main book. I'm going to give it this is roughly a 9 out of 10 per se. I was going to 9.5, but good God almighty, basically Mark Millar. Was it necessary to reveal that the Hulk had sex with She-Hulk? Well, that's Mark Millar for you. He does a lot of gross stuff at times in books. Yeah, I met Steve McNiven. He's a pretty decent person. Never Mark Millar, but my God, this guy writes so much controversial stuff. I mean, not only this and Civil War 1, the stuff he did with basically Ultimates. I mean, his most controversial series, you think it's Kick-Ass? No, Kick-Ass is actually pretty good. His most controversial one is actually Nemesis. And Trouble. I've never read Trouble, but I heard about Nemesis a lot more, where he wrote it where, oh yeah, what if Joker had Bruce Wayne's money and basically like kidnaps 2 kids? It just really gross. I'm not going to discuss it here because it is a really gross series to talk about. Another really good one from him, here's some good ones from Mark Millar. I mean, the story is good with the exception of the ending. I would say the good ones he did were Ultimate Avengers. Those 3 were really good. I thoroughly enjoy those. I'd say all 3 Kick-Asses were really good. Along with Hit Girl. Let's see. What's not going by him? I've heard Jupiter's Legacy. Jupiter's Legacy is actually pretty good. I've never read it, but I heard it's really good. Ultimates is mostly really good if you get past all the cannibalism and all the really weird stuff in that particular book, both the first and second volume. His XMen was actually pretty good, and his run from Fantastic Four was pretty decent for what it was. So the guy does do good stuff, but not... Oh yeah, another really good book, Secret Service, later renamed Secret Service Kingsman. Yep. Now, what happened with the Wolverine book not long after this particular storyline wrapped up? Well, it did return to the present day for 2 issues, where the book became an anthology book for some strange reason. Yes, the book had multiple writers. Apparently, Marvel wanted to do this for some reason for Wolverine 73-74, and then with 75, it was retitled to Dark Wolverine, with Docking taking over the title for 16 issues, and the book ended, and then was relaunched as Dark Wolverine. That book ended at 23 issues. Wolverine himself still had Wolverine Origins, but he did eventually get a new volume with Wolverine Volume 1 by Jason Aaron, which lasted for 20 issues, and then it was, well, resumed with triple digit numbering for about 18 issues, relaunched again by Paul Cornell twice before leading Wolverine's death, and now we have the current volume by Ben Percy. As for Man Logan himself, well, next time we see him after this would be in the pages of Mark Millar's Fantastic Four, and then eventually Secret Wars, which leads to the current stuff. Yep. Yeah, but otherwise that's pretty much it. Now, in the case of this world itself, there's a couple more series set in this world. There's Old Man Hawkeye and Old Man Quill. Both of them really good. I do highly recommend them. They're just purely fan. I think All-Man Hawkeye is good. I mean, it doesn't have the craziness that is this series. Mainly because it's not written by Mark Millar. It's written by Ethan Stacks. Yep, he writes that. And he writes also Old-Man Quill. And apparently Marvel okay, you did a good job with those two series. Let's give you bounty hunters for Star Wars. And that's what he's doing now. Mark Millar, I'm not sure what he's doing now. I think he might be working on another sequel for Kingsman. Or working on some Kick-Ass. Yep. So yeah, that's it for Single Team, and that's it for Video Stay. Tomorrow, expect to see, ReZero, 7 Deadly Sins, and possibly my 1300th episode for Comic Corner. Yep, see you next video. Bye.